Good. Good. Well, it's quite wide. I like lots of music, grew up listening to lots of different music. I'm sort of blessed and cursed with being able to do, to function in a lot of different areas. I guess it's always quite soulful and lyrical, generally. I mean, I'm a kind of regular sort of meditator, so that's kind of there anyway in my morning sort of routine, to just have some time to sort of drop it, drop all your ideas actually, so that it can just, whatever happens, you're kind of a little more equanimous about what's going to happen. I don't like to go in with very strong ideas about how it's going to be, but sometimes you've got, a bunch of maybes, the chorus, or things that might be the starting point. But I find it can be a bit stiff if you go in too strong, Yeah. I like being here. I really like it in New York. I mean, Nashville. This will be my second trip, so I really enjoyed it last time. Obviously, London's sort of been home forever, so there's a different kind of comfortableness about it. Do you know what I mean? You kind of know how to move around, and you don't have to think about that side. But I find it stimulating being other places. Definitely, if I'm away from the city, everything's a little slower, and trees are usually mentioned. Sunlight and things. Yeah, it just all gets a little more loving. I think. Trying not to do what other people think it should be, possibly, because that's what seems to get really studio fatigue. Everyone's like stressed because it's not quite like something else. Whereas if you have the luxury or the the ignorance, luxury or insanity to just follow it how you feel it should be, then you're kind of it's always right. Certain songs that are just like, it is literally like someone tapping you on the shoulder and it's just there. And I have no idea where that comes from. Like, there's no me in it. And yet after I've performed it, let's say recorded it and lived with it, you're like, oh right, it's like a really strong message. So those feel like the best, but then there's other ones which everyone seems to love, which often you didn't particularly, value that strongly at the time. So I don't know. I'm pleading Fifth Amendment on that. Well, the Lord's song was great. I was really into that. We have a station in England called Six Music, which plays a kind of really eclectic, and they were playing that sort of before it kicked off. That's a great tune. The new Ed Sheeran song I like, because I sort of know him vaguely from years ago, and that's quite a traditional song, which I was pleased to see. His first song was great. There's a guy called C.W. Stone King, an Australian guy. He's got a song called Jungle Lullaby that I'm really in love with. That's slightly obscure. Otis Redding, people like that. I don't know. Aretha still is. I've never heard anyone that does that. Well, Stevie Wonder. I did just do. I have done a lyric for an instrumental Stevie Wonder song. I've had people come up and say that's my favourite song, or that's the song for a wedding. Make Love has been played at a lot of people's weddings, and that's sort of like, wow, that's quite, that's just written one afternoon, and now this is sort of, brought people together. That's rewarding. Personally, it's the use of language and the subtleties of that, without using kind of hugely complicated words. It's like simple language to have a kind of universal connection. Personally, that's my sense of the craft. The rest of it is, I find, less. It's more just a matter of taste. Just that we need the money. No, but seriously, like, you got to play something. Pleasure, my pleasure.